Hey everyone, I'm Ultraviolent 4 and you're joining me for a brand new playthrough of Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. For this one we're going to try to stretch out our win streak to 7 wins in a row, and this playthrough isn't dedicated to anyone in particular because I've lost count of how many people have asked me to play a summoner, so this one goes out to all of you. Alright, we're going to be playing a Tengu. I'm looking in the wrong column. So these are bird people who love to fight both with weapons and spells. They're quite fragile, but they learn to fly swiftly later on. The game considers Tengu an intermediate species. I actually have to disagree with that one quite strongly. I actually think that Tengu is probably the most difficult species in the game to win with. Certainly it is to streak with. Or at least, if it's not the absolute worst, then it's certainly in sort of the top 2 or 3 most difficult species. So yeah, not intermediate, I'd call it advanced, but Tengu and then Summoner. Cool. So I'm a bit afraid of this one. Summoner's not a bad start, but Tengu is quite difficult. Alright, interesting that we've landed right next to a ring. But before we get there, let's have a look at ourselves. So we're a bird person. As far as our abilities go, we have a beak for a mouth and claws for feet. They mean you get 2 auxiliary attacks if you're meleeing enemies, but it also means you can't wear helmets and you can't wear boots. Some of the more important things that aren't listed there: Tengus have minus 20% HP, so they're always pretty fragile. You're starting out at 10 health, which is pretty low. Any goblins or kobolds when you're level 1 with a weapon can do 9 max damage, so you're almost in one-shot territory. And then what else? You don't get... right. At level 5, you get the ability to fly, and then it's a temporary ability, and then later on at level 14, that turns into permanent flight. But until you get to that level 5, you're pretty weak. Let's have a look at our skills. So I feel like on paper, Tengu looks like it should be better than it is. So they've got decent aptitudes here for fighting. All their weapons are +1, including range stuff. And then they're good at armor, +1, +1 on dodging, 0 on shields, so that's all pretty good. And then they also have some pretty good magic aptitudes. So +3 in conjurations, summonings is good too, as is they're very good at air magic, and then also, what was the other one? Fire magic they're pretty good at as well with a +1. So it sounds like they should be good. They're pretty good at fighting stuff with good aptitudes and then having auxiliary attacks, and they're pretty good at some magic schools, but I feel like in practice it's mostly disappointing. You're so frail that being a melee fighter is really dangerous, and then if you do want to be a sort of blaster caster, there's nothing wrong with that, you're kind of a glass cannon like a deep elf is, but you tend to have less AC because no boots or helmets. You have a lot less magic points because you don't get any innate bonus, and your spellcasting at -1 is a lot lower. And then you're just generally not as good at blowing stuff up. So yeah, we'll see how we go. Okay, so what are we going to train? Well, we're going to focus summonings. I'm going to turn on spellcasting because that's going to give us more spell levels and more magic points. And I want to train at least 1 defensive skill. Man, I definitely want dodging for more evasion. And I feel like I also want fighting, I don't know. This is not a good sign when your character wants to train a whole bunch of skills all urgently. Not good. I think I'm going to train fighting as well. Yeah, with our +2 summonings aptitude, we're not in a huge rush to get summonings. I mean, more summonings is good, but we're not going to struggle too much with any of our upcoming summoning spells, which we should take a look at. So we've got the Book of Callings, bunch of different summoning. Some of them sort of spin off into dual schools. So we've got Hexes, Air, Ice. All of these are decent, particularly. Well, here's the thing. Okay, if you're just tuning in to quickly get the secret to playing a summoner, here it is. Your spellbook, your starting spellbook, has Summon Lightning Spire in it. That's all, folks. Some of you are probably newer viewers, but if you've been with me for any period of time, you'll probably know that I think Summon Lightning Spire is the strongest spell in the game. So basically, your earliest summoning spells are like a ramp to get you to Spire. That's basically all you need to know. And looking at our aptitudes again, Tengus are really good at summonings and really good at air magic. So it's perfect. Alright. Your other spells in here are also at level 4. Summon Ice Beast is another very good spell that can carry you through most of the game. So we'll be using these in the early game and then some combination of Spire and Ice Beast later on to get us going. Alright. And just one last thing that I want to address before we get going. Just again about the Book of Callings. I've heard the argument made, heard it a few times actually, that when you're playing a full-on summoner, as if that's a thing, when you're playing a quote pure summoner, Summon Lightning Spire isn't that good because your other summons get in the way of it. I just want to address that argument because it completely boggles my mind anytime I see it. Here's what it sounds like to me. So imagine for a second, let's just look at Spire because it's great. So imagine for some reason LeBron James was eligible to play for your college basketball team. And then you heard people saying, all those other mediocre players are going to get in LeBron's way, so you may as well just bench him. What? No, bench the other players then. If you have LeBron, you just give the ball to the king and then you let him do his thing. You don't worry about the other scrubs. Just give the ball to the king. And that's how I feel about Lightning Spire and other summons. If they're in the way, then they can go away and we'll just have Spire. Anyway. Hey, Foghorn Leghorn was in Space Jam, right? Yeah, he was. Okay. So we'll see how far we can take this basketball metaphor. This is now a Space Jam themed playthrough. Alright, let's play. Let's play ball. That's the baseball thing. Anyway, so I'm a little bit frightened here. First thing I want to do actually is set up a macro. So with tilde, and then I'm going to make a macro that... Oh, we've already got one for ZA. That's correct. So that's our first spell, Summon Small Mammals. Basically, you just, whenever you see something, you spam it for all the mana you have. You make as many bats and other small mammals as you can get. Okay. So our first enemy is a kobold with a weapon. We don't have any good pillar to really dance around here. So I feel like maybe one of two things. I'll see if there is another way out. I don't think there will be. Okay, well at least we nearly got teleport trapped. That's always fun when you're literally 0 experience. So short sword lets us hit stuff if we have to. Alright, so there's no way out. We have to fight the kobold first enemy. But what we can do is preemptively summon some enemies, or not allies, like this. And then we'll go and throw the stones. We may as well get some damage on him while he approaches, and then we'll step back and we'll just let our summons do it. Okay. Good. Alright. For all these early summons, summon spells, you basically just spam them as much as possible. Okay, there's a leather armor. Thank you, rat. Oh man, okay. Well, this rat is like straight up just killing us. The Tengu life dying to a rat feels bad, man. Alright, so as far as the leather armor goes, that will potentially give us an extra AC for 1 evasion and a little bit of a spell failure chance. I think that's probably worth doing. You're better off, it's not going to affect our failures too much, and you're usually better off having AC than you are having evasion. Alright, so similar thing as the kobold before. We'll summon our allies first. Summon spells have a cap, which, let's see, I don't know if you can see it like this. It does tell you. Isn't that useful? You can sustain at most 4 creatures summoned by a summoned small mammal. So different summoning spells allow you to have a different number. So we can make 4 of these at a time. Okay, good. I just helped out there by swinging the sword. I didn't really need to. That's probably something else that I should address, because people playing Summoner seem to lose their minds about it. When you are when you're killing monsters, this applies for everything. You get an amount of experience proportional to how much damage you do. So if you completely kill a monster all on your own, you get 100% of the experience. And the minimum is 50%. So if you do nothing, you don't damage a monster at all, you get 50%. So if you're playing, again, a quote-unquote pure summoner, you're probably only getting 50% experience. And I see people completely losing their minds about that and really worrying about, oh no, I'm not getting experience. But just trust me, it doesn't matter. You've got summons. If you have summons, the experience is irrelevant. Just don't worry about the experience. You'll be fine. There's more than enough experience in a game of Crawl. So what I did there is we failed the spell once, and then we got 3 rats, which are all pretty mediocre. So I shut the door and waited, and then we'll go again. We got 3 rats again, but also a quokka. Apparently we're not very good at throwing. Good. Summoning's up to 5. That's pretty nice already. We failed it, so again, just gonna rest. Well, alright, we got a few different dudes coming. Alright, it's okay. And we reached level 2, which is a very important time in a summoner's life. Once you get to level 2, you probably are not going to use summon small mammal ever again. So you immediately want to learn Call Imp. I'm going to put that on maybe X. So I'm just playing around with my macros. It's the tilde button, then M, then you pick a letter. Alright. So summon Imp. Calls forth a minor demon from the pits of hell. Let's see. What's our fail chance? 6%, so we got a bit unlucky there. Alright, so these guys are significantly stronger than the summoned small mammals. But so the way that this works is there are 4 different imps that you can get. You can get these crimson ones, and by far they're the most likely ones that you'll get. So that's something else I've seen where someone's saying, man, I'm so unlucky, every time I cast this spell I get the crimson imp. No, that's how the spell works. You'll mostly get them, and they are the weaker one. The other types, so here's an iron imp. they mostly just hit hard. So they have good AC for being on dungeon level 1, and they hit for up to 12 damage. So they're just kind of like the tanky ones. The best ones you can get are the frost ones, because they're little frost, not frost darts. They throw frost, and it can kill uniques for quite a while. You can fight a D2 Sigmund if you get a bunch of them and stuff like that. So they're super strong. And then you get these shadow imps. They've got pain. And that's all four. Yeah, okay, that's it. But they're all very good. This spell alone can take you to Lair. Maybe not Lair. Definitely can get you to the temple. Just summon imp. It's really good. We picked up this shiny ring mail. I'm not going to put that on yet. Any shiny or magical item you find on D1 is very likely just to be cursed. So until we get remove curse, I'm not going to risk it. We've got the frost one. While we've got that, it's just going to murder everything. And was that a regular sword? Yep. Okay. Alright, on to D2. I'm just going to do a quick search. So if you do Control F, that's how you find items. If you press dot, it will tell you everything that you've seen on the floor. That's quite useful. So we could pick up... No, I'm happy with the short sword. If it's an option between the short sword and the dagger, we're probably not going to be stabbing stuff, so the short sword has more damage. I don't mind using that one. Cool. And on we go. We don't have any 2s of a scroll, so I'm not going to be... Right, there's one. Alright, we will read that one then. Gonna read it on the stair just in case it's teleport. It's ID. We're best off doing the potion. It's haste. And I think also I'd like to do the ring that we found. Positive energy. Alright, we can put that on. The bat skeleton. This looks like a bit of a spooky floor. The other thing to watch as well is that the Crimson Imps blink, which you probably know from fighting them when you see them as enemies, and they're quite annoying. But the reason that's important is that if you're intending for the imp to stay between a Crimson one, to stay between you and say something that's faster than you, like an adder, there's a good chance it will just blink away. For our level ups, we're going to be picking int. Int will help us with spells, so we just want as much int as we can get. And also, now that we're level 3, we're immediately going to pick up Core Canine Familiar. We can get Summon Guardian Golem, but it's kind of a funny spell. I don't use it very often, which is not to say that it's necessarily bad, but it's just, you can see already, if we learn Canine Familiar, we'll have no more spell levels left. And we also really want to get Summon Ice Beast, and we really, really want to get Summon Lightning Spire. So if you do Guardian Golem, you're really struggling for spell levels. But Canine Familiar is really good, so we're going to learn that too. This brings a... not on that letter. Do it on that one. This summons as you might guess, a canine. So at low spell power, you just get wolves, right? Let's see. You get hounds, that's right. So you get hounds, and with more spell power, you get wolves and wargs. But you can only have one at a time, which is fine. They're also very powerful here in the early game. One thing to note, I just went to stab it. It was totally unnecessary, but I don't know why. I just really wanted to stab it. They're faster than enemies, so you can use them to get monsters to chase you, and while those monsters are chasing you, the faster hounds will get free attacks on those enemies. There's Wujian. That doesn't sound like a very good summoner god. Okay, our first adder. Fortunately, we've got a white imp out. Not only will it do lots of damage to the adder, but because they're cold-blooded, they get slowed. We're gonna summon some more, okay, imps, just in case, but it wasn't necessary. Something I also need to point out, for my entire crawl career, I have thought that adders were susceptible to poison. Like, honestly, the whole time. Until in the last playthrough, someone told me, like, what are you talking about? They're not susceptible to poison. And when I saw that in my head, I was like, what? Yeah, they are. Anyway, I looked it up and they're not. How do we get this long without any of you telling me? I hate all of you. I must have said it 1,000 times. We're like, okay, we'll just, now that we've got poison on this adder, it's gonna die because it's susceptible. But no, none of you told me. I've been embarrassing myself this whole time. That's okay. I won't pretend to know everything about the game, but still, that's I felt like, when I discovered that, I felt like everything I knew about crawl was a lie. Okay, another one. So we're gonna summon some imps, preemptively. We got the cold one, so now we can go on the adder. Alright, sweet. We have another potion, so let's identify that. It's magic, fine. And we still don't have any more double scrolls, so we're going to keep going. Yeah. Basically, what I'm going to be mostly doing is just using summon imps. While the Canine Familiar is good, it's also 3 mana, which is almost 50% of our total mana. So it's like, is a Canine better than 1.5 imps? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it is. But anyway, I'm mostly going to spam imps. I'll use canines if it's a more difficult enemy. Also, potentially if it's an invis enemy. Because canines can sense invis, so they're useful in that way too. We've got another 2 of something. This early in the game, it's likely to be a remove curse. So I'm going to read that, again standing on the stairs. It is, which lets us do this shiny ringmail. Yeah, it is cursed and minus. Does that destroy our spells? Kind of. So it took us to 5 AC, 10 evasion. I should have checked before I put it on. 19% fail on core canine is probably a bit too high. So I think we remove cursed. So it's 5 and 10. This was 3 and 12. But our spells are better. Yeah, okay, I think we'll stick with the leather armor. The orc there, and now a second one, might well indicate that we're about to meet an orc priest. Like a wizard pack, which is always a fun time. Okay, maybe not. Another ID. Do this potion, heal wounds, that's good, makes us much more survivable, and then we reach level 4, so I would love to immediately learn Summon Lightning Spire, but we don't have the spell levels for it. So I think what I might do, we're just going to train more spellcasting. Alright, and once we get fighting to level 2, which we can do by hitting equals and then A to set a target, we'll turn fighting off for now, because once we learn Spire, we're also going to want to spam our air magic training to get that castable as soon as possible. Exploding Tomahawks, interesting. Your Thomas Hawks, sir. Gonna pick those up. We don't really need. No, we may as well pick up the plain ones. If we're going to throw stones, throwing a tomahawk is probably better in most cases. Takes longer to do, but it does more damage. Here's another 2. I think I'll wait until the next floor. Now that we've just found Identify and Remove Curse, we're not in as much of a hurry for other scrolls. Interesting. A Ruined Halberd. I'm going to pick that up, but I'm not going to wield it, particularly because we don't have any more Remove Curse. Using polearms is really powerful, when you're a summoner because it allows you to reach over your summons. But yeah, a bit too dangerous without remove curse. I mean, it's not dangerous insofar as we would actually die, like you would if you equip a sling with no ammunition and you're a melee character, but it means that, oh dear, there's a priest. Okay, it means that we potentially wouldn't be able to fight stuff as well, and it also means, say we might get stuck with it because it's cursed, and then we immediately find a buckler that we won't be able to use because a halberd's two-handed. So yeah, we're gonna wait. Priest's really scary. Oh, okay, we've got double white imps. I think we just go. I'm gonna call, as in I'm hitting TT to yell to try to bring the priest. I think one of our white ones timed out. Okay, I'm alright with this as long as the priest isn't showing up. Alright, the wizard's kind of scary too. We don't have curing. Oh, we got another white one though. We went invis. Okay, never mind. We gotta go back. We don't have curing, so if we get confused, we're in a lot of trouble. Fortunately, with the white imp between us and the wizard who's presumably going to chase us, the white imp should be blocking, so we're not going to get hit by hexes. We want to make sure we go down the hallway that we had explored. So this hallway on the right here, if you weren't paying attention and you just ran down that, it's into the unknown. You could get trapped and died. So where's our upstairs? It's back up that way. Or we could run all the way around. I guess we just start running all the way around. We want to get into the hallway like this, so that we are completely getting blocked from all the spells and hexes out of the wizard. And if the wizard ever shows himself, our white imp might actually just kill him. No, never mind. Got hit by a puff of flame and he's vulnerable to fire. We got a white one again. Just wait here. Yep, okay, sweet. It's so good. I could pick up this sling, but the truth is, basically, I can't really be bothered. From ranged, like when we meet enemies like this, if they're ranged, rather than shooting slings, I'd probably rather just be summoning stuff. I'm gonna pick up the falchion, and we're gonna use that as our standard weapon. So the reason I'm doing that is for the riposte. This is another misconception that, I don't know, it's like the misconception addressing episode. People get really caught up in riposte, as in they build a long blades character and they go all in on evasion. Don't want to wear heavier armor because that will stop me evading, and then as I dodge attacks I won't get my free riposte. You shouldn't do that, but the one time riposte is really good is when you don't have any long blade skill, because your riposte attacks, they don't take any time, so it's basically like swinging it at Mindele. It's kind of like that, but you're not training it. So the free attacks for no cost are good. The free attacks at the cost of not having any AC, bad. Alright, here's a D3 ogre. Would normally be absolutely terrifying, but because we're a summoner, we can just send all our dudes at him. There you go. They just killed it. We made it to level 5 too, which gives us the ability to fly. That's really exciting. Ooh, okay, everyone needs to kill the priest. It can do 17 damage on a max smite. So we could get 2-shot, which is why we're immediately going to start walking away. And if we get smote and it hurts, we'll just walk away. And hopefully our summons that are there will kind of just distract the orc priest for a bit and keep it away from us. I'm also going to go, yeah, a hound. And again, keeping the priest at max range, as in on the edge of our line of sight. Sweet. Okay, this is good. We now have enough spell levels for Summon Lightning Spire. We're immediately going to learn that. This is going to be our bread and butter. We're going to go to our skills. We'll stop focusing spellcasting now. We'll leave it on because it would be good to have Summon Ice Beast too, but we're not in as much of a hurry, and we're also going to focus Air Magic. And that will, maybe we'll stop focusing summonings too, so we'll leave that training. We'll focus Air Magic to get our Spire going, and then we'll leave dodging on for now. Fighting will turn off soon when it gets to level 2. Excellent. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to set a macro for the fly ability. Wait, what? It's AF. Okay, so now we can fly. Alright. You swoop lightly up into the air. You feel very comfortable in the air. That's nice. This is something that gets criminally underused. Criminally. So what happens when you fly? You get plus 20% bonus evasion, and you move faster. So if you have a look here next to time, the number in brackets tells you your last move. Normally, most normal speed, well no, all normal speed species move at 1, but when we're flying, you move at 0.9, so we're slightly faster. Only slightly, but that does still change the game a lot. It means that you can kite 10 speed monsters forever and they'll never get you. So yeah, because the issue is, we're already flying, it's our one ability, is that it costs you 3 mana. So I think that's why most people don't use it, because it seems, and it is, a significant chunk of your mana. So people think, it's so much mana to use, I don't really want to use it. But the thing is, it makes you so much safer. Suppose I offer you 2 different Tengus that you could play. One Tengu is this Tengu that we've just been playing but can't fly. The other Tengu gives you the ability to fly, so you move faster, you have more evasion, but you always have -3 magic points. I know which one I'd pick. It's easily the second one. It's the one that can run from things and be more evasive. So yeah, any non-trivial fight where there's any potential that monsters might get on top of you, you want to be flying. So say that ogre that we met before, if it had punched its way through, Mace of Protection. If it had punched its way through all our monsters and then been adjacent to us, if we were flying, we could just walk away. If we weren't flying, any random energy from the ogre would kill us, or could kill us. I think we're better off using the Mace of Protection. Are we? Probably. When we hit something with this, we'll get +7 AC, which is quite a lot. Actually, I'm going to say no. Yes and no, because we shouldn't really be hitting stuff. At least with Riposte, as we run away from things, we can get free attacks if they're faster than us and hitting us for some reason. Alright, we've got some halberd gnolls coming. So this is a situation where could just start summoning and then hopefully our summons will kill the gnoll. But what if they don't? So we'll fly first, and now if it goes wrong, the gnoll can never get us because we can just fly away. And now we'll make our summons. We got good ones too. Alright. Go Freezing Imp. This one has a Spear of Freezing like this. So they've chewed through our summons, but now we're faster, so we can just walk away. And as we walk away and get more mana, we can continually make more summons. I'm just hitting the wait key there. Good. Spear of Freezing. This is actually better than the Riposte, I would say. Because this allows us to stand behind our summons and poke stuff. Sometime in the future we might train more polearms, or we might train polearms to get good with a trident or a demon trident, but not yet. We care much more right now about just getting to, what's that thing called? Summon Lightning Spire. How could I forget that? Alright. So the adder is one that you can't run away from, even when flying. So in that case, I'd rather just spam things. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could... I don't know that it would be wrong to be flying even when you explore. That way you wouldn't even lose a turn. I'm not sure, but it might be correct. Certainly, I definitely think it's correct to be flying every time before you go down a new floor. Because if we go down, we might end up adjacent to an ogre or adjacent to, say, a whole nother null pack, which means as we go upstairs, they'd get to hit us, and then as we tried to walk away, again, we could get random energied. Whereas this way, we could then kite. The working ant. A bit scary because we don't have curing yet, but as long as we get all our summons out first, we may as well poke with our spear. Good. Alright, we hit our target of level 2 for fighting. Turned off. Alright, good. How are we for Spire? 50%. It's going to be a little while yet. There we go. Alright, see there's an ogre. It's one tile away. So this would be, it's a similar thing. Like some people here would probably just walk away, but then if he random energies, he's now adjacent to you. So I'd rather fly first, and now that we're faster, we know that we can definitely get away from him. Alright, and then let's also, if we just make some more summons, we might, ooh, I moved incorrectly there. We might even be able to kill him, but, did we get him? No, nearly. Alright, good. Reach level 6 more in. But yeah, with the extra speed from the flight, he's never going to catch us. So it makes it safe to walk around like that and kite him with summons. I want to fly again. Okay. Get behind the freezing one. Good. Same thing. Even though the hound is faster than us, it makes us more evasive. And then we're going to start summoning. This time I'm going to make a canine. Okay, well it didn't help, but if the canine got on top of us, it would have been faster, but then, sorry, hounds, not canines. The enemy hound would have been faster, but our hound would have been as well. I forgot to do this. On dungeon level 4, I like to read my unknown scrolls because it means that we might get magic mapping, which might show us that the temple is here. D4 is the first time the temple can show up. We should also identify one of our potions. Agility. Alright, let's do the other scrolls. Still doing it on the stairs. For this reason, if we find teleport, we go back up. And we'll keep going. There's the magic mapping. So, I see, and there's the temple. Yeah, so if I had remembered to do this immediately, we could have run straight for the temple rather than doing all this other stuff. We could have been gaining piety all this time. And we'll do the last one, immolation. Okay, so let's head to the temple. We're immediately adjacent a scorpion. Again, this is why it's perhaps arguable to have flight up at all times. Okay, because then, yeah, this wouldn't happen. We had a turn there where we flew, where the scorpion could have hit us, and they do very heavy poison damage. We probably wouldn't die. We have heal wounds, so I mean, one thing of poison isn't going to kill us, but still. But now that we're faster in a way, we actually can start summoning again. Good. And back to the temple. Alright. That was a bit sketchy. The adder ended up adjacent to us as well. And again, this time, let's first swap. No, the iron imp will just kill him. Yeah, okay, never mind. We don't need to fly there. Do want to fly against the wizard though, particularly if there's a priest coming. Because it means that, yeah, if we're going to die to smites from a priest, because we're faster, we can just walk away. Good. Air to 3. That brings Spire to 32%. We're getting there. Alright. We have the option of a faded altar to an unknown god, or we just go into the temple. I think we go into the temple. Alright, so I've been trying to pick gods that I haven't played yet. There are not very many left now. But one of them that I have not played, which is going to be our god this time, is Ashanzari. You kneel at the altar of Ashanzari. So, while it seems inconceivable that the divine could be shackled, Ashanzari is just that, bound to the sky for eternity. So this actually is kind of on theme, because I too am bound to the Book of the Sky, because that's one that has a lightning spire in it. So, you know, a bit of a link there. God is all-knowing, all-seeing. Devoted worshippers are allowed to grasp shreds of this knowledge. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Do you want to join? Yes. Okay. Well, it taught us about our weapons. We've got an uncursed vampiric halberd. That's interesting. And what else do we have? That's it. Okay. So one of the things about Ashanzari that you should know is that if you... So for most gods, if you find an early one in the dungeon, say a D2 altar, most gods are good early. Ashanzari isn't necessarily. The way that you mostly gain piety with Ashanzari is by walking around with cursed gear on. It's called being bound, and Ashanzari likes it when you're bound. So, an early altar for Ashanzari, if you have no scrolls of remove curse, which is what you use to curse items on, or if you just don't have anything cursed, you're not going to gain piety anyway. So the being early bit doesn't matter. We do have one remove curse. So you see in our ability screen, we can curse item for the cost of one remove curse scroll. So we can start gaining piety like that, which I think I'll do. The way that it works is that, so you get different slots. You have your weapon slot, you have shield, you have armor, and you have jewelry. And as you bind yourself in those slots, Ashanzari will give you bonuses to that skill. So say you curse on a weapon, you'll get plus aptitude, well not plus aptitude, but you'll get plus level on that skill. If you do your armor, you'll get plus armor skill. If it's light armor, you also get dodging. Jewelry gives you plus skill on your spells and your evocation skill, and then so on. So I think, we could, at this point, I don't think it really matters, as in we're not, because your bonus also changes with how much piety you have. More piety is more bonus. So at this point, we're not really going to get much bonus anyway. So I was thinking we could try to curse on this piece of jewelry just to try to get extra summoning and air out of it, but it's really not going to do much. It's more, we just should have something cursed so that we start gaining piety. So I think what we should maybe do is cursed on our weapon. The question is, a vampiric halberd is really good, but it's also really bad. It swings slowly. I think I'd rather just have the Spear of Freezing, to be honest. Yeah. Alright, let's do that. Let's curse on our Spear of Freezing. You are slightly bound. Okay. So we're now getting... well, we actually don't get any bonus, because you don't get bonus on a skill that has 0. So if we started training some polearms, we'd start getting some polearm bonus. But in any case, also you see, as we became bound on our weapon slot, we got informed of what the vampiric halberd was. So that's one of the ways that Ashanzari helps you out. Because all your stuff is ultimately going to be cursed on, he'll let you know what the things you find are. So it's not a massive pain to just be cursing and uncursing things all the time, just to see what they are. Another bonus of Ashanzari is that you don't have to train invocations with this god. Well, you can, but you don't really need it. Which is good for us, because as a Tengu we have -1 aptitude for invocations. So that helps us out too. Anyway, now that we've got our god, I think we'll leave this one here. So if you join me in the next one, we'll work our way towards Spire. We'll start trying to build some piety now that we've cursed an item on. And yeah, we'll keep going through the dungeon. See you then.